Hi, my name is Caroline Poland, and I'm the founder and CEO of Poland and Associates Consulting. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the window of tolerance and how that impacts your life. So do you ever wonder why it feels like you are on a roller coaster of emotion where you can be going through life and suddenly get really agitated or frustrated, or again, you're going through life and suddenly want to go into shutdown mode where you just want to sit down and be done? Those things are impacted by our window of tolerance. So think of the window of tolerance simply as just that zone or the range where you can optimally function, where when you have difficult feelings or emotions, you're able to regulate through them and handle them in a productive way. So when we're able to stay in that window of tolerance, we are going to have some fluctuation between our parasympathetic nervous system dominance and our sympathetic nervous system dominance, where we hit into fight or flight. But what we want is that activation that stays in that window of tolerance, and our body's able to bring it back down, then it goes back up and brings it back down again. But what happens, and especially when we have experienced a trauma in life, that window of tolerance begins to shrink. And certainly right now with coronavirus, that window of tolerance is probably shrinking for many of you who are watching this video. There's an event that happens, and instead of this nice fluctuation between parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, we shoot up because that window is too small into hyperarousal. And then we might try to overcompensate and we hit into hypoarousal. And so instead of this nice fluctuation, we kind of go up and down instead, leading us to that experience of the roller coaster of emotion. So what do hyper and hypoarousal look like? Well, there are a number of characteristics for both, and each human has certain characteristics that they tend to go to when they flip above or below that window of tolerance. And this is what they look like. So for each human, there are going to be times where we need to hit into very high arousal, and that's hyperarousal, or very low arousal. And some of those things are just for our survival. But the problem is when we are facing things over and over where we can't stay in that window of tolerance, and where we spend a lot of time either in hyperarousal or hypoarousal, or instead of that smooth up and down patterning, that we go back and forth. And that is where we start to wear down on ourselves, and that can impact our relationships. It impacts our focus and our ability to learn or to work. It impacts our relationships and relational connectedness because we're armored up in that sympathetic nervous system where we have lost our connection to that prefrontal cortex and that executive function, and our body is just armored up and ready for survival. And again, that's fine if we are actually in a situation that we need to survive. But the problem is when we try to face life that way outside of our window of tolerance, it really impacts every vector of our life, and that takes a toll on each of those areas that we're touching. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Poland and Associates. My website is polandandassociates.com, and subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you won't miss future videos.